What moves does Getz need to make between now and spring training for you to consider this offseason a success? I think we've talked about this before. It's pitching. I don't think it needs to be, they need to trade Dylan, as we've talked about that. They could wait to the trade deadline. I'd be upset if they traded Luis Robert Jr. It does seem mostly go get starting pitchers.
I mean, listen, it totally depends on what your expectation level is. I think the White Sox seem to be setting an expectation in which they are looking to, at the earliest, 2025. And so how do we judge their offseason as a success? They have gotten better at the things they wanted to get better at. They're better at defense. They're better in the starting rotation where they now have some people as opposed to no people. They are slightly better in certain areas. They are going to go get a right fielder. They are going to have to go get more bullpen help. They are going to improve in the areas they needed to improve in. So sure, call it a success if you want, but none of it is really going to make them an AL Central contender in 2024. If you wanted to see that, then they need to do a whole heck of a lot more. They need to make a whole heck of a lot more moves because they are so far, in my opinion, from improving from where they were 101 losses to a team that could win the AL Central in 2024. Now, they don't appear to be trying to do that, so we should grade them on their scale, I guess. But if you want to grade them on another scale, grade them harshly because the moves that they've made so far, Nicky Lopez, Paul DeYoung, Max Stassi, Eric Fetty, Michael Soroka, these are not moves that have made them capable of making some sort of big jump. And at the moment, they look like their fortunes will only be better next year because there's really nowhere else to go but up.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I think if he gets one more project that I could really be sold on, I think Eric Fetty is a project that is exciting because I think there could be a possible good return just with if he puts up an average WAR season. They signed him to a $15 million contract. We see how valuable pitching is. I think someone would jump on that in the trade market. So I think it's a nice bet as we've referred to it.
Yeah, and I'll also say this. If they are, in fact, looking to 2025, then they need to make some moves that are going to set them up for 2025. Just because 2025 might be when they're looking at being able to contend the soonest, might even be longer than that, who knows. But it doesn't mean that they have to wait until the 2024 season is over to start working on that. And there are guys that they can go out and take low-risk moves on veterans or go out and trade Dylan Cease and get yourself a bunch of young guys. I mean, they have yet to do much, in my opinion, this offseason specifically, that has vastly improved their chances for 2025 even too. Fetty is one of those things that could work out that way, and the trade with the Braves had some minor league guys in there that could be part of that. But some of these guys they've gotten, where we've gone, hey, they did it, they improved defensively, like they're on one-year deals. They're not going to be here in 2025, and it's like if you are aiming for 2025 or let's say 2026, you can start working on that now. I have no doubt that Chris Getz is trying to do that, but to answer that question, I would deem their mission to get better for those years down the road a success if they made a move that showed me, hey, that guy's going to be here in 2020X. You know what I mean? And a Dylan Cease trade might be the most obvious way to do that, but it's not the only way to do that.
Yeah, right. And I mean, again, Michael Kopech and Michael Soroka could possibly be projects like that could be a part of the 2025 team. But again, you're relying on Soroka, who's had so many injury issues, and obviously Kopech, who's been up and down and up and down and up and down. Yeah, I think honestly, what was the question again from Shulo? If you could flash it. Getz, what moves does Getz need to make between now and spring training for you? I think go back and create a time machine, go back to 2021 and sign Marcus Semien. I think I'm going to change my answer. Since 2019...
Oh, the first question we were talking about.
No, this question. For him to
make
this offseason...
You think Chris Getz needs to invent the time machine?
Chris Getz needs to make a time machine.
He better get to work. He's not... He only has a couple months.
I mean, once you turn back the clock, you turn back the clock. I don't know. But Marcus Semien, since 2019, 3,184 plate appearances. Freddie Freeman's the only other player with 3,000. Paul Goldschmidt, Pete Alonso are over 2,900. Jose Abreu, Matt Olson are over 2,800. The only guy that is not a first baseman besides Semien is Devers, who is at 2,800 plus. And then Soto's the only outfielder at 2,800 plus. So, that's another skill, too. He's just always reliable. I mean, he's played in over 700 games in the past 3 seasons, 162 in all of them except 2022 and 2020, obviously, where he was at 161. So that'd be nice to just know that Marcus Semion's going to be playing second base every day with, all the cast of characters we've seen in Chicago. So yeah, create a time machine, go back in time. There you go, Chris Getz. That's a successful offseason.
We all silly like the mayor.